Week 10 of the fantasy basketball season, and here's a few guards I look to buy low or trade for this week. The first guy is Tyler Hero of the Miami Heat. So Hero, he's been banged up with a hip bruise. The last couple games he's missed now for this Heat team. And on the season, I thought he'd be doing a little better than he has so far. In the year, he's ranked 151 in fantasy basketball, 16.9 points a game, 6.1 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 2 threes a game, 75% from the foul line, and 45% from the field only. So Hero, he's been banged up. The points per game have gone up a little, but I just feel like in the playoffs last season, he was playing a better role for this Miami team and scoring more points. And right now, he's been out the last 2 games with the hip bruise, so hopefully he can return now. But this is why his value's low. You should go out there and get Hero before he comes back and has a few big games, and then his value's back up to a stock high level for Hero. The last couple games before he's been out, February 17th at Golden State, 11 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists and 3 blocks and 2 threes. So a weird type of game for Hero, getting 15 rebounds and 3 blocks in a ball game. Then February 18th at Sacramento, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists and a steal. And then February 20th at the Lakers, he didn't do much in that one. 5 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a 3-pointer. So Hero, he does get other categories he's been doing this season. But then there's games like we saw versus the Lakers where he don't have huge performances. And he's only in his second year of his NBA career, and he's only 20 years old, so we're going to expect up and down performances. But right now, I would try to buy him low, because I think he's going to come back and start going on a tear as Hero. And this Heat team, they need him to step up as well to move up in the standings. The second guard I look to buy low is Devonte Graham of the Charlotte Hornets. Graham, he's missed a lot of ball games now, and he's been injured. Graham, he hasn't played since February 14th versus San Antonio. And on the season, he's ranked 138 in fantasy basketball, 13.7 points a game, 3 rebounds, 5.7 assists, a steal a game, 2.8 threes a game, an awful 35% from the field, and 77% from the foul line. So Devonte Graham, it's been a tough season with him, and now with the left knee injury, it's cost him about 5 or 6 games he's missed. And we'll see if he could come back anytime soon. But I have a feeling that they could hold him out until the All-Star break here in Charlotte. And Charlotte, they're playing some pretty decent basketball. They got 2 good guards over there already that are playing at a high level in Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball. So right now, I don't think they're in a rush to bring Graham back. I'm thinking after the All-Star break to let him heal up. And right now, his value is obviously at an all-time low with the injury and some bad field goal percentage shooting and just the inconsistent numbers from last season to this season. It's a huge difference. His points per game are down 5. His assists per game are down 2.5. And even the threes per game he's making is down 0.7 is Graham. And on the season, also his field goal percentage is 3 points worse than last year, and his free throw 5 points worse. So right now, his stats have really taken a hit since LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward came to town this offseason for the Hornets. So right now, I don't think you got to give up much to get Graham at all. And he might even be available on the free agent waiver wire in your fantasy leagues. He's been dropped in 2% of fantasy leagues this week, and he's only owned in 73. So Devonte Graham, if you could get him on the low or the cheap, this is the time to do it before he comes back and possibly could have a few big games, and then you lose out on getting them. The next guard's RJ Barrett of the New York Knicks. Barrett, he's in his second year as well this year with the Knicks, and it's been a tough struggle for him. Some nights he looks like one of the best players in the NBA, and then some nights you go, how is this guy a lottery pick? And on the season, he's ranked 158 is Barrett, 16.2 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists a game, 1 3, 73% from the foul line, and 42% from the field. So the struggles shooting are always there for Barrett. He's not a good 3-point shooter, obviously. His field goal percentage is pretty bad at 42%, if you ask me. And then from the foul line, only 73%. It's way up from last year, which is a good sign. Last season, he finished the year at 61%. But now 73, that still isn't a great number. And over the last couple weeks also, his numbers have dropped in the last 2 weeks. 12.7 points a game, 5.7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1 3 a game, 38% from the field, and 70% from the foul line, with a ranking of 235 in this time period. So Barrett, he's been inconsistent. The struggles have definitely happened for him. And this guy, who knows, the Knicks, might look to trade him here. If they could get a Bradley Beal in a package deal, we could see Barrett going that deal. But Barrett, he's still young, 21 years old. He was the 3rd pick overall in the 2019 NBA draft. And I just think he's got to find more consistency and get things going, because Tom Thibodeau, he believes in him. He's playing him about 35 minutes a game. And we've seen flashes, like I said, this season. February 17th at Orlando, 15 points, 7 rebounds, an assist, a steal, a block. Then February 21st versus Minnesota, 21 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, steal, block. And he also did shoot 50% from the field. But then here's the woes, February 23rd versus Golden State, 4 points, 10 rebounds, an assist. And he shot 11% from the field. So RJ Barrett, he's got to find more consistency. While right now his value's down in the dumps, he's definitely a buy low candidate, because I think this kid, he could break out in the second half of the season here after he regroups and gets things going, because he's still averaging 16 points a game. He just has to find his niche and get his shooting going. The next guard I look to buy low this week or trade for is Trent Jr. of the Portland Trailblazers. Reports coming out that CJ McCollum still isn't anywhere close of coming back from his injury. And Trent, he's been a decent fill-in, but also like RJ Barrett, he's had great nights and inconsistent nights. And on the season, he's ranked 136, is Trent Jr., 15.3 points a game, 2 rebounds a game, 1.3 assists, 3.3 threes, 74% from the foul line, 42% from the field for a ranking 136. But the last week now, he's ranked 224 in that time, 15 points a game, 2 rebounds, an assist, 3.7 threes, but he's shooting an awful 34% from the field. So Trent Jr., he's definitely a streak shooter, and he's a guy that's going to hurt your percentages at time. And honestly, he's not going to get you many of the stat categories, but that's the good thing about him. If you're looking to get some 3-point shooting and scoring, he's definitely a buy low candidate, since he only gives you 2 or 3 categories in fantasy basketball. And we see it here over the last few games. February 20th versus Washington, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, 4 threes, 37% from the field. February 22nd at Phoenix, 11 points, 2 rebounds, a steal, 3 threes, and a woeful 22% from the field. And then February 23rd at Denver, 18 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, 4 threes, 43% from the field. But the last 3 games, he's getting a lot of shot opportunities, is Trent, with 50 shot attempts in his last 3 games. So Portland, they let him do his thing. They let him shoot. And I think he's going to shoot out of this slump and get hot. And we could see him drop 25 to 30 a game in a couple weeks span. So Trent, while his shooting is struggling right now, I would go out there and try to get him, because CJ McCollum, I think he could be out most of March as well. And Trent, he's not a bad option, in my opinion, to have on your fantasy roster right now. And the 5th and final guard I'd look to try to trade for or get this week is Buddy Hield of the Sacramento Kings. Buddy Hield, another sharpshooter who's going to have his ups and downs. On the season, he's ranked 103 in fantasy basketball, 15.7 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3.7 threes per, 87% from the foul line. But once again, a guy with a horrible shooting percentage at 37%. And in the last couple weeks, his numbers have dropped off a little as well for Buddy Hield. 13 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 2.3 threes, 34% from the field, 87% from the line, with a ranking of 142 in this time. So Buddy Hield, last season, he was scoring the basketball more, and his percentages were way better than they are this year. Last season, he was 43% from the field, while this year, he's only 37. And then last season, 19 points a game. This season, 16. So right now, he's been in a shooting slump. He's still getting tons of shot attempts, But he's just shooting a lot of three-pointers this year, is Buddy Hield, and he's not connecting on them, and that's why the shooting percentage is way down for him, in my opinion. And the last 3 games, though, he's been pretty decent. February 20th at Chicago, 23 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 3 threes, 47% from the field. February 21st at Milwaukee, 13 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 2 threes, 23% from the field. And then February 23rd at Brooklyn, only 11 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, a block, a steal, and 3 threes. Buddy Hield, he's just not connecting right now with his shot, but he's still a guy that could drop 30 points any night of the week and get hot from the three-point line. And I think he's going to start shooting out of the slump, especially with a couple easy matchups coming up at New York tonight and then at Detroit tomorrow night. So right now I think it's the time to buy Buddy Hield low before he goes off and has a few big games. So that's a few guards I'll look to buy low or trade for here in Week 10 of the fantasy basketball season.